Welcome back. I'm the Watch King. On this video, we're going to talk about aftermarket done right versus wrong. We have two examples in this video to talk about it, so let's hop straight in.
Jumping right into it, this is two examples. This one is done correctly, and this one is not done correctly. And they look similar, right? They both have aftermarket dials and bezels, but we're going to talk about the good first, because I like positivity, right? So this watch is done pretty well. We have a real Submariner, right? And it was converted into this diamond bezel, which is massive for its looks, over 5-carat bezel. And then a dial with mother of pearl. When it hits it right, it's actually really, really nice there, the mother of pearl, and diamond markers. Now, if you buy a watch typically this is from the 80s, sometimes 70s, but 80s and 90s is typically what you'll get because of the sapphire. That's what it is, right? 90s, even 2000s, sometimes it really just depends on where it is. But typically, almost all the time you see this with pre-ceramic Submariners, right? These nicer cases, in my opinion, right? So going back to the watch, what you have basically is somebody took off the bezel and took out the dial. If you kept those to the side, you have an original case, original crown, original case back, bracelet. Everything is original. This one's polished, but you can always polish it back to matte, right? And this is an original bracelet, just a Sea Dweller. Somebody put it on, but it fits really nice. It actually comes into the case perfectly, so it's not like there's anything there. But going back to the watch itself, right? So you would do that, and then you can convert it back when you want to sell it, and then you could sell it separately, or whatever the case may be. You just want to maintain the value. Unfortunately, somewhere through the grapevine, this watch didn't get it. And normally, I don't buy these watches, right? But there was a very rare date involved, and I had to buy this watch. So that's why I offer it to that's why I have it in my shop. I normally would never have aftermarket watches like this. But at the same time, it's a Submariner for less than, you're getting the diamonds for free, right? So it's a look for somebody, right? Then jumping into the wrong one. Now, what is wrong with this watch, right? Everything's about price point. Don't get me wrong, right? You're going to get a deal. But this watch is a 26 millimeter. Let me double check. I actually have my caliber tool. Now the bezel overhangs here. It's 28, but it's actually 26 because that bezel's 2 mil. Yeah, it's a 26 millimeter because the bezel, it overhangs big time. So 26 millimeter date just, right? So you have this diamond bezel, which is not the greatest. I think this is a lot nicely done. Right? You have little, diamonds, bezel, set row, and then you have this dial. Now, the dial doesn't look that bad on its own. This Jubilee dial, you have a diamond markers, right? And the hands are original. The date, everything, it's nice. It's cream color, actually. That's how they did it. This version's 1990 with factory sapphire, right? But when you compare this dial to this dial, now it kind of blends in. It's slightly different because that's a different tone. But when we get the light correct, here we go. See how nice the Jubilee dial is on this? This one's actually not running because I didn't wake it up yet. But there it goes. Look how nice and subtle it is. And this one just feels, see how it's coming. It's not the worst in the world, and it's a very small watch. The person who did this type of job and the person who wears this is somebody who's not super into heritage. No offense, right? They want something that has bling and it's a super steel. The other thing is, unlike this, where it has a factory bracelet, factory case, everything case back movement, this has a factory movement, original case back, crown is original, right? The case is actually original, but the bracelet is not. This bracelet has end links that are non-original. There you go. There you go. And the bracelet itself and the end links were put on by, it was an aftermarket. And somebody didn't believe, a dealer I showed this watch to, he goes, no, it's a factory bracelet. I go, look at the thing. And he goes, he kind of was shocked. And this is like a big dealer. So they did a great job with it. But it's still not original. They kept the original clasp, which I found pretty interesting. This is a real Rolex clasp right here. It has all the stamping and all that That's all correct. This is 100% correct down there. But the actual case, so when you change the bracelet, it's like, that's a whole nother deal too. But as long as, you know, it's great to give to, let's say you're getting your wife her first watch, or not even a wife, maybe it's a girlfriend, and she likes bling, and you know that, I mean, it's not like you're cheaping out on a gift. It's still a real Rolex. But this is, unlike this, where you just need a bezel and a dial, and you can keep that, you would need to go out and get a bracelet and all that. But I believe whoever wears it will not care about the bezel dial. They'll just love how it's a Rolex, and they'll love to show it to their friends or whatever the case may be, and just have a Rolex. It doesn't have, you don't have to give it to your wife or anything. A nice, if you're a lady and you want to buy a bling watch, there's nothing wrong with this. So there's nothing wrong with aftermarket. But these are the ways to do it, right? There's 2 ways to do it, and that's the way to do it. Another great example is the watch I wore. This one's not even running too. I just put it on. This is the one I wore in the intro, right? Let me take this off for a second. Now this watch is original bracelet, original bezel, original dial, radium. Really nice from the 40s. The hand, it's hand wind and automatic. This particular one, it's a perpetual. But you'll notice those hands, right? So, unfortunately, I don't have the original hands. And I think, oh, maybe they bent. Maybe a watchmaker broke them one time or another, whatever the case may be. So that's an aftermarket part in the watch, right? So what's the difference between having this and that? Well, there are 2 parts, but it all depends on what because some people consider this an aftermarket watch. So let me know your opinions. This is just a fun video just to show you the different levels. I don't have one that's all iced out. And then there's levels to the iced out version. Quickly, before I end it, you can ice this bracelet out, or some people put an aftermarket bracelet that's already iced out and kept the original bracelet, right? So there's different ways even in that. But like something like this, I would consider this an original watch with hands that are put in later. I would not consider this an aftermarket watch because that's the only part. But some collectors may call it an aftermarket watch, right? So I would love to know your opinions. Would you rock one of these? Would you rock the sub like that to be a little bit blingy? It's not my particular taste, but sometimes maybe you want to, and sometimes I feel kind of like maybe I should put it on for a bit, you know, the sun's shining, you know, or it's a good day out, and who cares, right? It's kind of a watch to just have fun with, and that's what it is. So I would love to know your opinions. What is your whole thing on aftermarket? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree? Let me know down in the comments below. If you're looking for any of these watches or vintage watches, please email me. You can see my listings down below in my shop. So I want to thank you all for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.